won the Australian title as a 20-year-old down here in Geelong back in 1970 and went to the Commonwealth Games. I can remember, I came from Gippsland at the time, and the town being excited that I was going to the games, but just that I was going overseas, because country people didn't travel overseas very much. So just the fact to go overseas was really, really something special. Arrived at the Commonwealth Games, that was really fantastic. And then lobbing in Europe and riding some classics in amateur classics in Belgium and Holland. Yeah, you read the books and then suddenly you're on the cobbles and you're doing it. It was pretty special.
The very first time I actually met John Trevorrow, I was a kid, maybe 15 or 16. John Trevorrow had just won the Australian Road Championship. And we came in the hotel and there's this guy, I'll never forget, in a white singlet, sitting back with a smoke in one hand, a beer in the other hand.
Donnie Allen and I go right back, a great rivalry. Also with his brother David, who was his younger brother, who I had a more fierce rivalry in some ways because we didn't get on, and we had a few punch-ups in different events. But Donnie was a superstar, and we went over there as amateurs, and we lived in a little street in Ghent called the Casamatan. It was a communal toilets. You filled the tin bath, put a couple of hot kettles in that, and you set your bum in that and wash yourself. So when you're racing on these Belgian roads in the wet weather, you end the race covered in manure. And if you didn't have a place to change at the race, you have to go back to our Casamatan, get out the tin and try and get yourself clean. But what we would try to do, we would try and knock on the locals' homes and say from Australia, and they'd invite you in and let you shower there. That was like heaven when you got to do that.
John Trevorrow is known to all of us universally as Iffy. Why would this be so? Because you talk to John about all the things that happen in his life, and it's if only this and if only that, and most of them are true. John's in the front group, not many left. Something went wrong with the bike. I think put a punch it or something, and there weren't all the spares that should have been there. Grabbed a spectator's bike from the side of the road, rode that, got back on, front group, and is the only sprinter in the front group. Something happened, put the derailleur through the spokes, whatever. Could have won the world title if only, whatever, you know. And they're the sort of Iffy stories. You've got a million of them.
I raced, I think, 3 years pro over in Europe, off and on with smaller teams, but the last year I went over was with a big team, Saphir, which was a Belgian brewery, mixed with some thought that was very fitting. Being an idiot, I used to smoke and have a drink, so I never took things serious enough, but I got caught by the director sport Iff. In the morning I was having my morning cigarette laying in bed, so he comes in. So he goes to one of the owners of the team, Gianni Savio, and dobs me in for smoking. So Gianni said to me, "John, what are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, look, I have an occasional cigarette in the morning to calm the nerves, Gianni." So the next thing I know, he's done a deal with a cigarette company. And I had to start the stage with a cigarette. They must have paid off the cameraman because they had the camera was on me. So we fired the gun and I butted the cigarette on the head stem, and it became a big story. So I became known as the smoking kangaroo. And the Gazzetta dello Sport used to run a little column down the back for the last half of the Giro, saying, you know, what's he doing today type thing. So it was quite funny. So I got famous for all the wrong reasons.
He was floating around on the swimming pool on a lilo thing with a beer in one hand and a smoke in the other hand, and one of the personnel from another team came past and said, "Oh, you're a mechanic. He doesn't work very hard. He's relaxing." And one of the guys said, "That's not our mechanic. That's our Australian road champion." So, yeah, he got a good reputation around the place, but he could deliver on the bike when he had to. He did the job.
And when I first started covering the tour, if you saw an Australian flag, you'd stop and talk to them. You wouldn't see many. Now, well, every time you turn the corner, there's flags and Aussie flags and kangaroos, and you know, there's thousands of Australians. I mean, if you had said to me, 20 years ago, that the cycling would be like this in Australia now, that we're #3 road nation in the world now, I just would have said, you're dreaming.